I spent the last 4 weeks using the base model, the cheapest version of the 14-inch M3 Macbook Pro, as my only computer. And in that time, how has it held up? Plain and simple, this is an excellent laptop. By now, I don't think Apple can really make a bad product, and while I did not expect to hate it over the last month, it did have a few things that put me off a lot of the time. I have put this laptop through its paces and used it the same way the average consumer would. Watching TV shows and movies, writing scripts and articles, video editing, and of course, using Google Chrome. Now, while I could easily just do the tech YouTuber thing and throw benchmark scores at you, I realized the people that will buy this are not really concerned with that. And Apple kind of emphasized this a lot by comparing it to the 2020 M1 MacBook Pro. So should you buy this? Let's find out. Like I said, this is the lowest and the cheapest model you can get, and it costs around $1,600 USD before tax. Now, it may be the cheapest, but in reality, there is nothing cheap about it. For $1,600, you get the 8-core M3 processor, 10-core GPU, 8 GB of unified memory, which we're going to discuss, and finally, 512 gigs of storage. And I say finally because in the past, the base storage was 256 gig, and that was a complete waste of time. Now, of course, if you want to upgrade this to the best of the best, then you're looking at $2,600 US before tax. If that is something that you thought of doing, let me just stop you right there. For that price, you should just be getting the M3 Pro MacBook Pro instead. Now that we understand the price and where it falls, let's start this off with things that I liked while using this laptop. Coming from using my M1 iMac every day for my workflow, getting something that was equally fast or even better was super important when buying this. The 14-inch MacBook Pro is fast, which is no surprise, since this is the first 3nm chip in the industry and their third generation of the Apple Silicon, and maybe we'll see a fourth in 2024. I have used this side by side with my iPad or even my M1 MacBook Air with universal control, and low-key, it has made my workflow a lot faster and more efficient. Compared to the previous laptop, it just feels better, and not just for regular work, but for content creating. Now, without a doubt, the average consumer can use this as their sole computer to edit videos or edit pictures, and it'll hold up very well. It is also very quiet as this is equipped with one singular fan. For context, when exporting, say, a 13-minute video on Final Cut on my iMac, you could literally hear it make so much noise, almost like a plane was taking off. But with this, it is absolutely quiet, and I really appreciate that. Just like most MacBooks, there is always concern about overheating. Down to its core, every device has the potential to overheat in the worst possible conditions. The M3, of course, is no exception. Now, I didn't do it, but shout out to Max Tech. In his video, he showed the M3 MacBook Pro get up to 108 degrees after putting it through a stress test. Now, it just goes to show if Apple put 2 fans instead of 1 fan into this computer, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't have gotten that hot. Still, I use this as the average consumer would, so doing various benchmark tests over and over again, trying to make this throttle is not exactly practical. Besides, a lot of programs have been optimized for the ecosystem so that these laptops from Apple do not need to work hard for things to get done. Okay, the M3 processor is still powerful and is one of the highlights in my opinion. But this brings me to things that I did not like. Once I started opening a lot of tabs, because face it, I have no self-control when it comes to Chrome, it began to show why that 8 gig of memory or the 8 gigs of memory is not enough. A lot of websites are just basically programs that will be active in your background, and they take a lot of memory. If you're getting the base model like I did, you can't have too many tabs open. Hopefully in the nearest future, maybe with the M4, which has a nice ring to it. Anyway, with the M4, 16 gigs of memory has to be the base model option at all times. One thing that people should know is this is a premium laptop. Like, once you hold it, you know you're holding a premium device, which is about $2,500 to a $3,000 laptop. It looks good, it feels good, and is not as heavy, which is great news because if you travel a lot, this is your perfect companion because it fits into most backpacks. So if you're just going to the local coffee shop or you're traveling, it becomes part of your everyday life. On the sides, it has two Thunderbolt 4 ports, a MagSafe charging port with a memory card reader, and one HDMI port. For one, the M3 chip gives you the ability to export to one external monitor instead of two. Now, if you want that dual screen action, you need to get the M3 Pro MacBook Pro. And in my opinion, that is honestly one of the dumbest things Apple could do. But of course, in life, there are workarounds. So if you want to get two monitors, you can just get a DisplayLink adapter. Personally, only one display is okay with me. If I needed two or if I need two, I can just use my laptop screen instead. The memory card, on the other hand, is for editing videos. If I finish, all I have to do is just stick it inside and get started on work. These few things are why I believe this is a great laptop for content creators. And when I'm not using my mechanical keyboard, myself and the keyboard on the M3 MacBook Pro have some sort of a love-hate relationship. Now, I love the keyboard because the keys are comfortable to each touch and the feedback is really up there with the best of the best. But I hate it because the space and size compared to the 13-inch is vastly different to me. With the 13-inch, I can easily just type with minimal errors, but with the 14-inch MacBook Pro, it is more spaced out and I make more mistakes. I just realized this is more of a me problem than anything else, but if you just switch from a 13-inch to a 14-inch MacBook Pro, let me know down in the comments if we're having similar problems. Below the keyboard are 6 5-inch speakers, and while it's not better than actual speakers in your studio or your bedroom or whatever, it is pretty good. The bass is more prominent and voices are projected better here when you're listening to music or your different podcasts. The display has the Liquid Retina XDR display with a variable refresh rate of 120Hz with 1000 nits of brightness and of course 1600 nits with HDR content. Screen real estate here is no problem. You can have multiple tabs open and still be able to see your work without any issues. Even when you're outdoors, the brightness does an amazing job of making your screen very visible. While having this is great, I always go back to just using a bigger display. If it's available, I mean, why not? And even with the battery life, it is pretty good. Apple says it's 18 hours, but that doesn't really reflect the real world use because people will use different saving power modes, close the laptop lid, and many more. I won't be surprised if a person goes a full 24 hours without this dying and even then some. If you're plugged into your display like I am all the time, then your battery will most likely never die. So who is this for? Who should buy the 14-inch M3 MacBook Pro? Very simple. If you have an M1 MacBook Air or the M1 MacBook Pro, and over the last 2 or 3 years, your laptop has slowed down and is not as responsive, this is a great upgrade. This can be for content creators or your students or even professionals. On the other hand, if the $1,600 price tag before tax is too steep, the M2 MacBook Pro is a great laptop. It is so good, even Apple decided not to compare it to the M3 MacBook Pro. Think about it. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like what you saw, give this video a big thumbs up and smash that subscribe button as this puts me closer to 14,000 subscribers. My name is KJOS and I'll catch you guys in the next one.